All right, it is the Sunday Night Talk. It is here. It's right now. I am on location. It's the holidays. I'm here. We just Dallas, Tampa Bay shortly. I want to remind you before we get to the episode, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, do so right now. Hit the subscribe button. Give it a like. All my stuff is up there. My stand-up comedy, my YouTube shorts, and this very show right now. Speaking of stand-up comedy, January. That's right, January 7th. I'll be at the Laugh Factory in Chicago, believe it or not. Got a little spot there, small show, but it's coming up. It's going to be fun. Well, we have a lot to discuss. The holidays are coming up. We had a slate of games. We had Saturday games. We had college football. We had some official eliminations of teams as well. So we have a lot to discuss when it comes to the NFL. Not to mention my wild ride coming into town today. So let's begin the show. It's the Sunday Night Talk, Week 16. Here we go. Okay, recording this 9:45 Mountain Time because that's where I am. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone now. I am back in my hometown of El Paso, Texas. We just wrapped up the Sunday Night Football game. Omar Carmona is here. We have a lot to discuss. His team, my team. This odd Sunday night game I was yelling like, why is this a Sunday night game? Can't they flex this out all day today? Ended up being maybe the best game of the day. Who was this Dallas team?
Yeah,
I didn't know, but it was great.
I wasn't planning on talking too much about Dallas. You know what I mean? and now it's like, if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I am upset. Like, where was this effort all year?
There's a lot of things to be oddly upset about today if your team has had a bad season, because we had a couple teams that were having bad years that had wins today, and you almost aren't happy when your bad team wins in week 16 of the NFL. Like, I couldn't figure out who this Dallas team was. Cooper Rush is having a career day. The secondary is picking off balls in the air. Receivers are coming down with the ball. They're picking them off. They're getting to Baker. At some point, they go up to Jerry Jones in the press box in the first half. Dallas is playing great, and Jerry Jones looks mad. It was the weirdest game. Collinsworth is like, Mike, am I watching the NFC Championship here, Mike? There's some hitting going on here, Mike. They're playing with so much heart right now. And I don't know, just from a purity's sake, the game was awesome. But thinking from like an NFL fan's sake, should Dallas have lost this game on purpose?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think.
Well, look, they're not at this point. They're just playing for pride, right? I mean, there's you can argue they're playing by losing games. They are playing for draft, pick, or
That's what's so weird about week 16 and 17 of the NFL.
Yeah, it's like at some point, it's like if you're really focused on your franchise, then it would make the most sense to lose games when you're out of it.
I don't know how you tell a roster of 52 players and coaches and assistants to do that exactly. I know it makes sense on paper, but I don't know how you do that, but it makes sense. Like when we get to my team, we had a great win today, and I go on Raiders Twitter and everybody's mad. So that's how bad the season has been. Even when you win, the fan base is mad. Be like, what are you doing? We got to get Shador. We got to get a high draft pick. This actually hurt us. It's just another thing to be confused about when it comes to being an NFL fan. So
right.
So this game was a great Sunday night capper, but moving forward, not. I guess it's good for Dallas because they showed a lot of heart. Mike, they got a lot of heart out there. Vita Vea, Mike. Look at his arms. It's good. It's bad for Tampa Bay, of course. I
Oh, it's
guess
bad because all of a sudden Atlanta with a brand new quarterback is now possibly going to come out as division champion.
it's like Atlanta bought a new car and it was a bad car, and somehow the state's lemon law allowed them to take it back and they got a better car. And they're like, hey, why
And,
didn't we do
you know
this
how
before?
this is kind of strange. It's like, how is it that you bench your quarterback, you start a rookie who's never played before, and next thing you know, it's like now you're actually in the driver's seat after the last 7 days you've had. Now you're in the driver's seat to win your division.
The NFC South and the NFC West, I think, win the award for the weirdest divisions in the league this year because it does a total
It
180 inside of a week and a half, it seems. And
Right.
I'm not even sure it's not going to flip all over again. We had Rams Seahawks today flip. We had Tampa Bay lose. We have the whole Atlanta thing is just bonkers to me. Philly loses their number one seed today. It's almost not worth even looking at the
I mean,
playoff picture until the end.
well, what was so crazy about the Philadelphia talk was, how is it that like over the last 7 days we've been talking about how now because of all of Detroit's injuries and because Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold, that now it's like Philadelphia's in the driver's seat to win the first round bye, and now they're out basically.
Right.
Stick working them. It's going to be between Minnesota and Detroit who plays next week
Yeah, it's win the division or lowest wild
or
card
the week
seed in
after. Sorry.
history of, and then go for an away game. It's
Yeah.
it's really weird. It's not even worth talking about playoff pictures until week 17 is over. It's
Right.
strange, and that was such a rough Philly loss. And didn't I say this 2 weeks ago that I just don't trust Philly? Who was it I didn't trust? Wasn't it Philly? And
Yeah.
somehow Saquon Barkley might break the NFL rushing record this year, and I'm selling all my stock on Philly. I I wouldn't be surprised if they lost in the wild card. I wouldn't. I think divisional is as far as they could go. And yet, if you told me they're going to make the NFC Championship, I would go, I can see that. I don't know what's going on, but they lost Jalen Hurts, and that's a big question mark right now because Kenny
Yeah.
Pickett did not look particularly good.
No. But how that game immediately changed. But now back and forth between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels as to who's going to be the offensive rookie of the year.
Oh, you got Bo
Brock
Nix in there,
Bowers, I
huh?
think. Yeah, I do. And Brock Bowers, I think, if he was on a better team, he'd be getting some, I think we're on the cusp of a Hall of Famer, breaking out soon. But anyway, back to the NFC. Just crazy how all of a sudden that's changed, and now we could be talking Minnesota, the number one seed throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, and didn't we have Minnesota like in our third place of our three best teams in the NFC? And all of a sudden we're
Right.
like, and Minnesota looks unstoppable. Sam Darnold is comeback player of the year, MVP. It's like, remind me next year to never talk about seeding, playoffs, anything until the regular season is officially over. Because it's gonna
Right.
flip. It's gonna flip next week. Watch. Philly's gonna look good next week or something. Minnesota's gonna blow a big lead next week, and we're gonna be like, "What happened? We're gonna do this all over again."
Right.
I just know it. Let's cap off the Dallas game with, I wrote down Dallas's last possession and Tampa Bay's last possession because as great as Dallas looked tonight, they gave Tampa Bay a really good shot at pulling this one off. So Dallas gets the ball. They're up to 2:36 left in the game. First down, Turpin runs for -1 yard. Second down, pass to CeeDee Lamb for 5 yards. Third and 6, pass to Ferguson for 4 yards. That leads it to 4th and 2. They punt it. So they go 3-and-out. They weren't very aggressive with the play calling. They let Tampa Bay use their timeouts. Tampa Bay is now down to 140 left, one timeout. So more than enough time and timeouts for any offense in the NFL to mount something. The very first play, Baker somehow gets out of a sack, pitches the ball, and the guy gets strip fumbled on his way down to the ground. Game over on the very first play. We went from like maybe one of Baker's most awesome plays into game over. That's it. Dallas wins the game. I would have liked, for my own selfish reasons, at least Tampa Bay get a first down to make it interesting
Right.
and then
Right.
fumble the ball. But God, it was just like, here we go. Nope, game over. Awesome play, game over.
Right.
What a weird way to end Sunday night. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And Cooper Rush played a good game. He didn't
Mhm.
make huge mistakes.
Almost had
Yeah,
that one big interception that was dropped. Almost
right.
was like the classic backup QB playing good, but then actually ends up blowing it in the end. But Tampa Bay receiver dropped it. Just a couple of big
Right. Yeah,
drops on
and
the.
I'll leave the Dallas talk because we're they're out of it. So let's move on to the playoff teams. But
Yeah, they were
I'll say
officially
this.
eliminated today, and somehow they played their best game.
Yeah, but
Somehow
what I
that's
want to
the
say is
secret
this.
recipe.
Let's just say Dak Prescott is healthy. Okay.
Hmm.
Today, do you think they'd be that much different of a football team than you saw today?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because
Say we swap Dak and
that's a lot of money you're spending for similar results.
yeah, say we swapped out Dak and Cooper beyond the like ability to run. I don't know if Dak really runs effectively, but he can run better than Cooper. Yeah, was there any throws today that Cooper didn't make that Dak could have made? I don't think so. And I was thinking about this today when it comes to coaching as well. It's a coach of the year because we can talk coach of the year already. Shouldn't the award go to the coach on the most with the least? So say with McCarthy in there, who might have somehow in a weird way extended his job employment at the Cowboys. Hasn't he done almost little to nothing to elevate the talent he's had this year?
I say the problem with that mentality that the most with the least, then you can make the argument that it's Dave Canales from the from the Carolina Panthers. You know what I mean? Because
Right, right, yeah.
and look, they're not gonna make the playoffs, but I think with the least talent, he's there. I mean, there's like they're winning
Mm,
football games, and like the body language of that Panthers team has totally changed in the
mhm,
last in the last month, and even Bryce Young looks like he's got some hope and some optimism there. So I wouldn't say it's who does the most with the least, but I'm just saying who makes the most out of with what they have.
yeah.
And sometimes some coaches have an embarrassment of riches. And case in point, Kyle Shanahan, I know you're gonna say I'm biased, but I think it's fair to say that as far as position players and pro bowlers and all pros, the Niners have it all. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
literally have everything.
Yeah.
It didn't translate, but it didn't translate to wins, this year. Obviously, there were some injuries, but it's just I just think that who gets the most out of with what they have. And I think coaches like Dan Quinn, Mike Tomlin, these are the coaches that I'm looking at for coach of the year.
Would it surprise you if I told you Mike Tomlin has never won coach of the year?
No, I'm not surprised. I've heard that, and
Yeah, I
that's
heard that
something.
stat yesterday and I was like, wow, just being pretty good really gets you nothing in sports. He has
How
won
do
a
you how
Super
do you
Bowl.
how do you not give Dan Campbell coach of the year when he orchestrated an 11 game win streak?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
candidates for coach of the year. Who do you got? Tomlin, Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn. Do you have
Dan
him in there?
Quinn, I have him in there.
Kevin O'Connell needs to be in there, I think.
Wow, Kevin O'Connell, how can you not?
Why do we just have those three and then maybe four Dan Quinn? Why are we not throwing in the
I mean,
coach of the Bills?
the job Sean McDermott looks like winning some big games out of Buffalo.
Yeah, why aren't
It's
we talking about him? Just because he good already before?
yeah.
I guess
Who
so.
knows? Yeah, maybe because we've given him the vote and then he let us down in the playoffs. And I think maybe that's why he's gonna get people looking away from him.
Right. Yeah, in the case Kyle Shanahan. We know what the ceiling is for him and his team. So
Right.
to be
Yeah.
less than even what you did last year by a little bit, it's a disappointment. And maybe it's not fair,
Right.
but I mean, the league is too competitive. They have really, really hit to their
Frozen.
stock. It was a season from hell from today. The playoff run, is totally out of the question now. It was a rough game, and to Miami, which is another team that stock went way down this year.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's talk a little headlines, and then I'm going to tell you about my day of travel and how I
Okay.
watched football today. But here, I'm going to throw some headlines at you from the week. This week on the Sunday Night Talk, and maybe sports in general, I got the start of the first ever college football 12 team playoff. I got losing to Washington and Saturday football as my three big headlines this week. Where do you want to start?
Let's do Saturday football.
Saturday football, we had two games, Houston at Kansas City and Pittsburgh at Baltimore. What did you feel about a little sprinkling of two games on a Saturday?
I love Saturday. I love late season Saturday, December football. I think it's
Hmm.
a nice little afternoon break.
Did you
Um,
know it was
you
happening
know,
or did it surprise you and you were like, oh, there's football on today?
no, I knew it was happening.
Hmm.
But and there's a reason for that. I am, you know, happy to report that I was in just two fantasy football leagues this year,
Hmm.
and I was, and I out of based on today's result, I have made the championship game in both leagues.
Oh,
So I
really? How
haven't,
much are
I
you invested
haven't,
in this fantasy league of yours?
the money.
Or just money or emotionally?
Emotionally, because I this one both I've been playing for over 20 years. Um so it's the two that I've had for the longest. Um and one's for my law school friends, and then one's from friends that I had for a long time, and just from college and whatnot. And it's been fun. Um, I started off rough in both leagues, and kind of without even really trying hard, just my team started winning, and then I started paying attention to it later. But that's how I knew there was Saturday football, because obviously I'm paying attention to schedules and all that. But I liked it. I like Saturday football, of course. Um, I don't my hot take is going to be focused on college football this week.
Mm,
Um,
wow.
but I did like that there was no college football and we got pro football on a Saturday.
Yeah. Well, there was college football though. Like, well, later in the
There
in the
oh
day.
oh oh that
Well, I
wasn't
guess you
college.
could skip those first two
That
games,
wasn't
right?
that
There were
all
blowouts.
four games. All four those four games were terrible. The college games were awful.
Games that are really that competitive. What are you going to do though? It's like that
Oh,
that Saturday
I
early.
think college football got a taste of what the NFL goes through when they have those divisions that have like 500 teams that get into the playoff and get a
Yeah.
home game.
Yeah. But I'll take it over not having it. I want to see what the result is. I have to see it. They all felt like that Saturday wild card playoff game, that early Saturday one, which always is a dud. Like that's what they all felt like. You're like, all right, here we go. Oh wait, this game's not competitive. All right, I'm gonna put some more Christmas lights up, and if I watch this game, fine. If I don't, I don't. That's kind of what they all felt like. But I did like them. I was like, yeah, we can't get rid of them. We need to see SMU get their ass kicked. Let's see it.
Okay, I mean, that's true.
Let's see it. You gotta play the game. You can't be mad if they're not competitive games. You're not
And they
mad if
really
if
did. And they really did get their asses kicked.
who was there was SMU got killed. Who was the other one? There was
I
another
mean,
one too.
Indiana didn't look great
Indiana
against
got
Notre
killed.
Dame.
That yeah, I think they lost by 10, but it was not a 10-point game.
Clemson got killed.
Right, Clemson was the other one. It wasn't really competitive. It's kind of like
Ohio State beat the crap out of Tennessee. It was just bad.
no one gets mad at the basketball NCAA when number one kills number 16. It was just a formality. It just has to happen. Don't get mad
Right.
at college football people. So that was Saturday. Houston at KC. You know what I liked about this game? Because I'm watching on Peacock and I notice an alternative feed I can watch. And it was called the Madden Cast. Did you watch any of the Madden Cast option on Peacock?
I did not, and I've been meaning to.
Well, I think this is the first time they've done it.
Okay,
So I
I
so
wanted,
I
I wanted to. I guess I should have said.
I click it and they've got the screen set up as if you're playing the game of Madden so you can see all 22 players. And it was really cool. So all the position players are highlighted like when you play the game, like it says wide
Right.
receiver X, wide receiver Y and Z. And then the best part was they had Chad Ochocinco and this other former QB guy who's like a Madden genius commentating on the game. And dude, I learned so much in 25 minutes from like scheming, what it means to disguise a defense, what it means to play man versus zone. I was like so immersed in it. I really wasn't watching the game or like the score. I was just going through the downs and the situations. And then I blinked. I was like, oh yeah, Houston's down 10. I forgot.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I liked it. And at one point, it was really authentic because that receiver gets that horrific injury on Houston, and they're showing the replay of his knee getting all twisted, and they're looking at it, and Chad Ochocinco's watching the slow motion replay, and he just goes, "God damn!" Like it was raw. He was really upset, and he just lets out this "God damn" watching the injury. It was great. I really liked it. I feel like a couple tweaks, and it's there
Okay.
because unless it's Collinsworth, I really don't need to listen to anything the announcers have to say. I really don't.
Right.
So I enjoyed it. I hope they bring it back. And beyond that, it took me back to the Madden days. I was like, yeah, this is what you would do. They were putting the plays that the team should choose underneath the screen. We're like, oh, I'm gonna pick the A button play. I'm picking the B button play. I was getting into it. I enjoyed it.
Well, good.
The Madden Cast,
Oh,
yeah.
all right. So
Well, anyway,
maybe
back
let's
to the
check it
game
out.
though. Houston Casey had a real playoff feel. I felt Houston was in this game. Ultimately, I don't know if you would agree or not, but that injury to the receiver somehow oddly
Oh, the
affected
thing.
CJ Stroud after that. Like
Yeah.
he was definitely affected by that.
He's a very emotional guy. He's a very spiritual guy. He's very out and open about his religious beliefs and his spirituality, which I admire in this day and age. He's not afraid to be himself and to speak his mind, but at the same time, yeah, it seemed like he was shaken up, and it just seemed like that really took him out of it. And so I wondered,
Yeah, like it was like
I
a
mean,
good 20 minutes before he was back to normal playing CJ Stroud
I mean,
again.
and look, it's his brother, and I don't want to say he's not upset, but like, wow, it's like, at the same time, it's like, hey, man, like you got a game to play, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to sound that I'm not being, you know, sympathetic, okay, but
Mhm.
you still gotta, you guys are trying to win a division here. You're on the road,
They were
you
really
know.
in that game. They were really competitive in that game. There was a few balls where CJ Stroud didn't give his receivers a great chance at it, but it felt like they were in this game. Like it's almost a good loss because they're like, oh yeah, we went into Kansas City, we played well, we took an injury, we lost, but we know what we can do. Like I almost feel like their stock went up for me in this
Right.
game. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being overly optimistic on Houston because now I like CJ Stroud because he's a good guy. I feel he's a good guy. So now I like him more in that sense. And I want to say this loss was a good thing. And on the flip side, KC just keeps rattling off these wins. They just keep doing it. They're just in a league above, and for some reason to us, the fan, it's not impressive to
It's not,
us.
and again, I don't think there's any chance they're gonna win, you know, I just I don't see them in the Super Bowl. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't know anybody who's really talking them up. Do you?
Right. No, I don't.
It's the weirdest thing. It's the only two if they win the Super Bowl, it's the only three-peat team who can actually legitimately say no one believed in us.
Right.
How that happens, I have no idea. But no one is talking KC as their Super Bowl matchup. It's weird. It's weird to hear that, but they just grind out wins this year. Speaking of
Right.
Mahomes and good guys, I watched a YouTube clip about Patrick Mahomes' dad. What do you think the over under is? I'm going to give you a number, and it's 4. Over under Patrick Mahomes' dad number of DUIs.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I know for a fact. Are we talking just arrests?
Well, there was this. I
Because he's
saw a
got
specific
because
number.
I know for a fact he has 2 prior convictions, and I think
Yeah,
he may have
he's been to jail.
yeah. So I think he may have a third conviction and then picked up his fourth. I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna say it's a push on 4. He has 4 DWI arrests.
6. He has 6
Oh yeah, I
DWIs.
thought he had at least 4. Yeah.
It's there's body cam footage too. Like that's really embarrassing. It was like I am not drunk. Like anytime you tell someone you're not drunk, it's never a good sign. There's body cam footage of him with an open Coors Light in his cup holder, and he's like, you know who my son is? He does that one too. And then Mahomes has kind of the crazy younger brother who's just a influencer, and he got in some trouble this last year. This makes me like Patrick Mahomes even more. Because he's like, I'm straight and narrow. I'm not womanizing. I'm not getting DUIs. Look at how crazy my family is. Now I like Mahomes even more, knowing this chaos that he's got to rise above to play good football every week. I got to give him some extra points for that. Maybe he should get MVP.
Okay. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't want to go that far.
Come on, crazy family has to factor into one's MVP status. That's that's so crazy. He's like, hey, I'm not drunk. He did the I'm not drunk. I have been drinking, but I'm not drunk. It's always a great excuse.
Right.
All right, then the late game. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore wins pretty handily. What's the
Yeah.
confidence level in Pittsburgh for you? Okay, you
Not
side, and I'm a little bit of agreement with you. I'm like, I don't know about
not
these
not
guys.
not great, Pat. Not great. I just
So out in
I
the
don't
wild card round, what do you think?
I don't put them like yeah. I mean, man, they're so it looks like Baltimore. Did Baltimore win the division?
No, no, I don't
No.
think they outright won the division yesterday. Who else is in
So
there with
and
Baltimore,
Pittsburgh had a
Pittsburgh?
chance to win the division.
Right, that's right. Yeah, they had a chance. Who's the other team in that division? Or it's a two team race now. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and Pittsburgh owns a tiebreaker.
Oh, and then Cincinnati's still behind them.
Somehow Cincinnati isn't out of the playoffs, right?
Right.
Hmm. Okay, we'll
Right.
talk about them when we get to it. So you're confident high in Pittsburgh. Who do they
Yeah,
play
not a
next
high.
week?
Do I still think they can win? Yeah.
What do you mean? Win what? A playoff game?
Could they win a can they win a game in the playoffs? Yeah. But like I don't see them going to Buffalo and winning.
Yeah, you think like a good team is just too much for them.
Right.
So let's see. They have the Chiefs next week, and they have the Bengals as their last game of the season. So this will be a real test for Pittsburgh. If they win those 2 games, gosh, that's something. And for some weird reason, I could see them winning those games.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting, Pittsburgh. All right, so my confidence isn't totally shot on them, but on a big stage Saturday night against a good team, like I don't think they were very good. I don't performing. Tough loss for them. And then where are you in Baltimore?
Um, where am I on Baltimore?
Hmm. Why do none of us really have thoughts on Baltimore?
Because you know what? It's just gonna take. Is is Lamar Jackson gonna be beat those playoff demons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's really
there's
all.
certain quarterbacks that have playoff demons. I think he needs to exercise some demons this year.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. For some reason, Baltimore isn't my top team. I would put Detroit and Minnesota above them. And I don't know why. I don't know why, especially with Minnesota. All right. Those were the headlines. That brings us to today. As I mentioned, your time zone, we're in the same town now
That's awesome.
because I flew in today. I found this El Paso Chihuahuas hat. So I was like, I got to put this on. So I'm flying all day. I have to connect flights. It's Sunday. It's holiday travel. So I open up my tablet on the plane. I was like, oh, I can watch a game on the plane. And they're showing Rams Jets. And I'm like, I don't really want to watch this game. But I
Nah,
kind of I should watch it. And then I'm scrolling and there was like a movie on the plane. I was like, oh, I want to watch this movie more. And then the guy next to me opens up his tablet and he puts on Rams Jets. And I'm like, perfect. You leave that on. I'm going to watch a movie. So that's how I watched Rams Jets is I just peeked at this, my neighbor's laptop for 2 hours. And I was effectively watching two things on the plane. No sound.
night.
I just kind of pieced it together. And I think that was a good way to watch the game because there were little good parts of that game, but there was also like boring parts as well. Rodgers had some little flurries of goodness in that game. I don't think he was the reason for losing that game. I think they blew it with timeouts and another missed field goal. The Rams go to New York. It's cold. I was totally ready for the Rams to lose this game. Would you have been surprised if they lost?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're high on the Rams now.
I'm not saying, oh no, I'm not saying I'm high on the Rams. I'm just really low on the Jets.
Right. Rodgers was okay in this game, but he does move like 41-year-old Rodgers. He definitely like once people get around him, he finds a way to fall down. All right,
Right.
so now I'm just kind of watching these games on my phone and stuff cuz that's the only way I can do it. So I just wrote down one sentence for all the games
Okay.
today. So I'm going to go
Okay.
through them and we're going to see what you think of my one sentence of each game. So let's start with the New York Giants at the Atlanta Falcons. And my one sentence is maybe getting Cousins and benching him for Penix at this point in the season. Maybe that was a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, even
It's
though they're
looking
paying him a lot of money, none of these franchises really seem to be affected by this anymore. So,
right.
Penix comes in, Cousins maybe doesn't mentor him, but at least he has something to look at as what it means to be a professional first string quarterback. And then when the Falcons are done with them, just bench him. They got good
Right.
October out of him.
Right.
Penix
I'm
comes
with you
in,
on that one.
they get to beat the Giants, and somehow they're in the playoff run. Maybe this was a good strategy by the Falcons. Pay Kirk Cousins $100 million to play for, what do you play for? 8 weeks? 10 weeks?
94 made 94 million to play 11 games, 14 games.
Wow, Cousins. You know what? All these times we make fun of Kirk Cousins, he might be the smartest player in the NFL.
Maybe.
Like, hey guys, I had 2.5 good seasons with Washington, and I have dined out on that for the next 10 years. So who's
Right.
dumb now?
Everyone else is Kurt.
We're the dumb ones.
Yep.
All right, Detroit at Chicago. I wrote down for my one sentence Detroit just seems to be having the most fun in the league. They're doing
Yes.
fun trick plays, they're winning easily. Doesn't matter where. Detroit, totally having fun. They're unstoppable right now.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable. This was like just such a no interest game. Like you could turn this game off and go do something. I was like, oh, Detroit's up 24-7. All right. I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I'll see you later.
Right.
In my case, I'm gonna go to Hudson News. I'm gonna go buy a bag of trail mix. I'll check on this game later.
Not a, but they won big. Um, Gosh, it seems like Caleb Williams, the look on his face, he just wants this season to end like immediately. Like
God.
he's poor guy's taking a beating.
Well,
Um,
who was I talking to about this? Like, we're watching the Bears last week or something, and because they were Monday night. Like, he'd have a play, and or like they'd punt the ball, and Caleb goes to the bench, and it's just like he's just talking with the teammates, no looking at the tablet, no coach coming in to talk to him. Like, I feel like he's just playing on all his own talent this year. Like,
right.
there's no coaching, there's no mentorship for the guy right now. So like, what can you blame the guy for? He's trying his best. There's no direction. Goes to the sideline and just talks to the receivers, and then goes and runs plays when they get the ball back. Next game.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the coach hiring for the Bears is going to be huge. Whoever they get, they really have to nail this. Otherwise, they're going to squander whatever talent Caleb Williams came into the league with.
And it's got to be someone who is focused on Caleb Williams.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be an offensive mind. It's got to be like a quarterback whisperer too. It's got to be somebody
Absolutely.
that can do this, that can turn around a quarterback. Maybe it's
Or
Vrabel
you're
or whatever
bringing
staff.
or you're bringing in, I mean, but there's so many different approaches to this. Or you're bringing in a Ben Johnson as an offensive coordinator to see if he
Hmm.
can, and maybe just for his resume, Ben Johnson takes on one more coordinating project just to show you, look, I can do it in different cities, and then you bring in a guy to totally rebuild that defense. But it's got to be one specific guy, whether it be an offensive coordinator or a head coach, but it's just got to be one guy working to the development of this offense around Caleb Williams.
God, who's it gonna be? I mean, this is one of the biggest hires, and I guess you would say 25 years for the Bears. They were going through their coaching list,
Gosh, this is a big one. This is a big
and you're
one.
like, man, beyond Lovey Smith, no one has a winning record, and a lot of the names I never even heard of. I was like, who is that? Jim Tressel?
He's not one of them.
Cle- that was somebody with glasses. I was like, who's that guy? Cleveland at Cincinnati. Somehow Cincinnati still has something to play for. Burrow is balling out. I got to give it to Burrow. That guy has no quit in him. And Cincinnati's not out. God, I would love it if Cincinnati got in the playoffs. Wouldn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Oh, that'd be so great. So now I have some reason to watch Cincinnati. Here's a game that maybe no one has any reason to watch. Tennessee at Indianapolis. And my sentence is a question. Can you give me any reason to watch this game today?
No, there was no good reason, and it was a
I
bad
couldn't think of
game.
one either.
It was 30-38. I guess they scored points, but I wasn't into it. But Jonathan Taylor definitely held on to the football. Those two big,
Oh, maybe that's
breakaway
the reason.
touchdowns.
Like, see if Jonathan Taylor fumbles the ball at the one again. All
Oh
right, give
no,
me some
he
reason
held
there.
on to it.
All right, LA Rams at the New York Jets. I already told you I totally thought the Rams were going to lose this game. They did not. Philadelphia at Washington. Confidence in Philly, question mark. We talked about that. It's very low. Do we know anything about Jalen Hurts? I guess we're going to.
Just concussion
What do you,
protocol.
because Baker went into the blue tent today. What do you think they do in there? Like, what is concussion protocol? They ask you questions, they look at your eyes. Doesn't it seem like a lot of people who would have a concussion could still pass that? I feel like that tent is like to protect the doctors. Be like, what did you actually do in there? I would like to know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what exactly goes on in there, but it is a big thing.
Yeah, the concussion tent. Next game, Arizona at Carolina. Arizona is officially out of the playoffs because Carolina won today. Like you said, it's impressive that Carolina didn't abandon ship after week 3 of this
Right.
season, and they're doing something. The coach is positive. They've got a rookie QB that we thought was dead, and all of a sudden they're playing hard. That's good. That's all I can say
Yeah.
about Carolina. Is there anything to add to Carolina?
Yeah, no, I think there's a bright future. And then so again, I hope they don't, just don't. you got to keep in mind, this is Bryce Young's first year with the brand new coach, so give it
Yeah.
time, give it time, give it time.
Yeah. Yeah. Next year, all of a sudden, has gotten very interesting for Carolina. Next game, one sentence Minnesota at Seattle. Seattle needed this game, did not get it. Seattle reminds me of the hot chick you've dated 2 times, and then all of a sudden, third date, she's late the date by like 45 minutes. Fourth date, she reschedules. You're like, I can't count on this team. I can't count on this woman.
Right.
And Seattle, all of a sudden, I thought that was going to be the Rams. Now it's Seattle for him. It's like, I can't count on you, Seattle. You're going to show up in a t-shirt to a formal affair. I just know you are. Do you think Seattle has a shot?
They have a shot again, like Pittsburgh.
Right, right. If somehow Pittsburgh has to play Seattle, why do I think that's going to be the best game of the year?
Right.
Why do I think it's going to be one of those 5 turnover games, but is a great, much like the Sunday night game we just watched.
Yep.
Mike, they're really hitting out there. This is the way football should be played, Mike.
Oh.
Look at Jerry Jones up there.
Oh, like when he was saying, Baker Mayfield is playing the game to play. I had no idea what that even meant.
He did say that. He's from Texas, Mike. For some reason, we like knowing where all the players are from. Like that means something effort level wise. Did you see Ferguson's eyes, Mike? I'll tell you right now, he needs to go to concussion protocol. New England at Buffalo, one sentence. Drake May looks good. I really like
Yeah,
Drake May now.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, am I overreacting?
No, no, I think again, another guy, just stay patient with him, you know?
Let's
Yeah,
see what
it's
his
gonna,
16 for 29, 154, one TD, one pick. He got sacked once. Yeah, like I look at those numbers. No. Oh, sorry. No, I'm reading Josh Allen's stat line. Drake May, 22 for 36, 261, 2 touchdowns, one pick, 2 sacks. Like he throws a great deep ball. I don't know how many pass interference calls they got in this game. He's running with his head down. Like I'm excited for Drake May next year. Sounds like you are too a
yeah,
little bit.
I am.
Me too.
I am. It could be something special.
Buffalo wins the game though. They needed to, and they like a good team. They got the win where they needed it. Next game, Jacksonville at my Las Vegas Raiders. My one sentence: Las Vegas should not be winning these games. I told you I don't want to root for tanking, but we need to tank. We need to tank. We can't be winning games. It serves no purpose. Brock Bowers is having great career games, but now we're like,
Oh, I just hope
I don't
nothing.
want
I
this
just
guy
hope
taking
nothing
hits.
happens. I just hope nothing happens to him.
Totally right. Somehow
He's
Aiden O'Connell is back in the starting role today. He was fun
But Pat,
today.
doesn't it seem like, I mean, aren't you kind of excited as a Raiders fan that this may be like your next big tight end? This guy may take over the NFL, I think, one day.
Yeah, like anybody should ask him like, how'd your season go? And he's like, oh, I had these numbers. Oh, you did? And Aiden O'Connell was my quarterback. Wow! He almost
Yeah.
deserves extra. Be like, wow, you caught this many balls? And Desmond Ritter was throwing them to me. What? Desmond Ritter? He should have that on his on the back of his football card. Played with Desmond Ritter, Aiden O'Connell, and Gardner Minshew in one season.
Yep.
Pro Bowl. Yeah, so I read on Raiders Twitter that the goal for the draft is Shedeur Sanders or the quarterback from Oregon. And I would agree that we got to get a QB. There's no other choice in the draft unless some that's I don't want to step on my hot take unless something else happens, but Raiders got to get a QB in the draft, don't you think?
I think, abs. I mean, they're getting Shador.
Yeah, I think Well, they said it. They're Shador or the Oregon QB are going to be their pick. If
Right.
Shador is not available, then Oregon QB is going to be the
Right.
guy. Thus, why you should not be winning, Vegas. It was sad. Like they did the little drone shot of the crowd, and there was a lot of empty seats. It was a little bit of a bummer to see. Next game, San Francisco at Miami. San Francisco officially bottoms out this season. Like this was rock bottom to me. I read a tweet that said, Brock Purdy, at this point, I take Daniel Jones over you. I was like, whoa, settle down. I get the frustration, but come on, not Daniel Jones. San Francisco, just, it's over for the season. Don't get hurt. As a San Francisco fan, what's the feeling? What's the mood?
It's not good. We're not very happy. I don't know where we're gonna go from here. We've committed a lot of
Oh,
money.
are you that confused? You don't know where you're going?
Are we gonna give Brock Purdy a lot of money?
Yep.
I don't
What do you
know.
think they do?
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
they just put your crystal ball hat on? Do you think they pay him or are they going to shop him around?
They're gonna pay. I think they're gonna pay him, but not the money that we were thinking. He's gonna have to take a little less.
Yeah, so maybe in the long run this helps them with the cap space that they can offer him less money and he can accept it. Maybe. Maybe, but you don't sound very positive about your team.
Not at all.
Jeez, what's going on? Was this the official bottom out game for you?
Oh yeah. I already know it was over. It's been very clear to me that it was over. A few
Yeah,
weeks
you
ago.
did bail on the team pretty early.
Right. So no, we're done.
And Miami, like, how far has Miami fallen off the grid? They got, Tua had that one great season. They got Tyreek Hill. And Tua's just, I'm scared to death for the guy. Every time he runs or anybody gets near him, I'm scared. He throws the ball weird. As a fellow left-hander, I feel bad saying, like, the guy throws the ball weird with his left hand. It's almost like, as a left-handed quarterback, the defense knows half a second quicker than a right-handed quarterback where the ball's going. Don't ask me why, but that's what I feel with Tua. I get a little nervous with him.
Yeah.
Just another miss of a season for Miami. And in a side note, Denver at the LA Chargers. This was Thursday night. Chargers gaining a lot of steam right now. I cannot wait for that Chargers divisional round. Say they make it to the divisional. I can't wait. I cannot wait for a Chargers. Who would be the best Chargers matchup? Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I
Who
think
else
so.
is in
That'd be a
there?
good one.
That'd be fun. I just have this weird feeling. No, they'd have to go to Buffalo. No, I wouldn't like that game. Who could they get that would be good? Because Chargers are not going to travel well. Yeah, I'd say Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would be a great matchup for the Chargers. I feel like they could go back and forth all game long. We could have a lot of offense in that game. Those were my
Yeah,
sentences.
San Diego can be scary.
San
If Justin
Diego?
Herbert- I'm sorry, LA Chargers. Here, I keep, but they could pull out an upset this year.
I think like America is rooting for that. Like, America always adopts a team at some point in the playoffs. I feel like the Chargers can be that team. I really do. We get the Harbaugh story in there. Fun team. We're going to have to do our playoff once we get the playoff schedule solidified. We're going to have to do our playoff draft of who's America's fun team, who's the no one believes in us team, who's the showing off team. Like we're going to have to do a comp for all our teams, playoff teams that make it. Our nobody believes in us team. Okay, so like I said, day of travel, but I got in. I could take in Dallas, Tampa Bay. I watched Jets Rams on someone else's tablet. So that
Good.
brings us to the awards. So I'm going to do these in real time almost because there's some
Okay.
I didn't really have an answer for. I'm going to try and come up with some on the fly. So let's start with memorable moment. And I wrote the end of that Washington Philly game was awesome today.
Oh, I mean, it was a fantastic game. A real coming of age, a coming out party. Although it's been all year, he's been successful, but Jaden Daniels was just awesome.
He was awesome. He had a couple runs where he juked the guy, the defender missed. It didn't even seem like he made a move. Like he just kind of
Right.
did like a little like twist, a little shake this way, and all of a sudden he had daylight. Like that was it that third and long that he ran for? That was like, oh, he's gonna get tackled 4 yards short. No, he's not. He's actually got it by 8 yards.
I think I'm going to be a closeted Commanders fan.
Oh, is that right? You're in the closet?
I think I'm in the closet right now.
What's it gonna take for you to come out of the closet as a Commanders fan? A Thanksgiving, a drunken night with family? Who are you gonna come out to first? Friends or family?
I think when I get the news that they're back to the Redskins and they bring back their old swag, I think I'll be back.
Like if they changed the gay flag back to the original rainbow, like go back to your
Yes,
roots, be like, I'm back, everybody. I can be
I'm
gay
back.
now.
I this is what I
Now
this is
who's
what I wanted.
gay?
Yeah, this is all I wanted.
What if the gay flag and the Washington Commanders changed back to their original on the same day? What a sweet piece of irony that would be.
Why not, right?
I love it. Closeted Commanders fan. Wow. It's not even hot take yet. That being said, the Philly receiver had that horrendous drop ball on third down that would have extended the drive and possibly have ran out the clock. That was, I mean, just unforgivable. Unforgivable, Philly. This is how you're going to lose a playoff game. Mark my words. It's going to be something dumb. A drop ball or running out of bounds where you should have stayed in or staying in. It's something dumb. God, Philly. No confidence. All right, cringeworthy award. Or do you have a memorable moment of the day?
No, I think I can't know. I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember Jaden Daniels for a long time. This game.
You like him. You're closeted. Deeply.
Yep.
Cringeworthy award for the week. I already said one. Drop passes. God, drop passes has got to be the best thing for the amateur fan to call an elite athlete a dumbass when they drop the ball because you immediately go like, I could have caught that. What are you doing? Throw me
Yep.
a ball. I'll catch it right now. So I got drop passes as cringeworthy. And also did you catch Kyle Kingsbury's sunglasses on the sideline today?
Yeah, those are a little weird.
He was wearing old lady glass. He was wearing the Liz Taylors that Sean Payton had last year. Wow, those were bad. Two cringeworthy awards. So I got to go drop passes. But Kyle Kingsbury's glasses were extra special today. What's your cringeworthy
Cringeworthy on
award?
Netflix. The new Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to watch it. I heard a good review of it, and I want to watch it now.
I saw the trailer, and it looks interesting. I want to start watching it tonight, but I don't know. I was just cringing already just thinking about what he's gonna be saying.
Right. Well, you're anti-Rogers to start, so
You know
you're not objective.
I've been anti-Rodgers for a long time. You've known this.
Yeah, I know that, but you never give any reasons. You just don't like them. But I will say
Just
this:
don't
when it
like him.
comes to like the media, like I'm gonna need a better take on the weekly Aaron Rodgers story. Like we got it. The guy is not a good teammate. He's underperforming. I'm gonna need a better take than just like, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Is he gonna retire? We need something better, guys. I mean, we can't use the same Aaron Rodgers take every single week.
Right. I'm
It's
with you on
more
that.
like we need to fill a segment. Let's make fun of Aaron Rodgers. The only
And it's
real
getting old.
critique, yeah, I mean the real critique you can make is his play. That's what you can critique. Like everybody has a vendetta against him, and the fact that he's not playing well is fuel on the fire. And we've done that for 6 weeks on now. Like we need something different now. Sorry, that turned into hot take-ish. Do you have a memeable moment for the week?
I think the memorable moment would be when I saw the the college football playoff bracket and how awful it looked with those lopsided victories. And so my meme would be just the bad idea meme. This is just my meme with a bad idea.
Oh, there was a lot of good college football. I'll piggyback on that one. There was a lot of like memes where it was like when you thought like it'd be a picture of like the guy from The Office or from Office Space looking all confused, and the title was like when you thought it'd be a good idea to put SMU in a playoff game. When you thought it'd be a good idea to send Indiana to South Bend Saturday night. I'll piggyback off of that. There's some good memes that came out of that college Saturday. Next award, Best Innovation Award. I don't think I've ever given this one out before, but I definitely should have. How about Best Innovation? John Madden Football. Revolutionized video games.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's you can't even put a you can't overstate how important John Madden is to pop culture and the NFL. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Everybody is almost an offensive coordinator because of John Madden Football. Everybody knows what the X receiver is, the Y receiver is because of John Madden Football. Everybody knows what the nickel and dime defense is because of John Madden Football. What's your best innovation for the week?
The best innovation, I'm gonna go with I do like the what YouTube TV does on the multi windows. I do like that you have different options and and times when you don't want to do red zone, maybe there's 3 games and they kind of have an idea. I think I don't know if it's AI that kind of knows which games you're focused on because it's kind of wild that like it's the 3 games that I would pick that I'd want to watch. But I like that thing about YouTube TV.
Yeah, you're a multi-view guy, huh?
I like it, yeah.
Good innovation. Next award. I don't have a soundtrack award for the week, other than you could play whatever song from Christmas movies where people are running through airports. You could play that for me this week.
Okay.
'Cause I was running through some airports. I had to connect in Phoenix. Always a good airport to run through, Phoenix. So I could go with that for a soundtrack. But hot take. All right, you ready for my hot take? Do you remember back in the day, we saw that year Tom Brady got injured and Matt Castle took over and he had a decent year, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to sign him the next year and go even further back from that. Do you remember Dan Marino got injured early in the year and this guy Scott Mitchell took over?
Oh yeah.
And he had a good season and he went to Detroit the next year, huge contract. So don't you think that same thing is going to happen to Sam Darnold this year? Because it's like, okay, we got our rookie QB. He got injured. You took us really far. Who knows how far? But we've invested in this guy. And now you have all this value that we can get for you. So don't you think that dude could potentially go to my Las Vegas Raiders next year?
It's possible. Would you be upset?
Given the year he's had, no. I really thought he took a step up this year. And I'm really curious to see how his playoffs are because he's got some playoff demons he needs to exercise too.
Well, has he ever really played any meaningful games in January?
Well, maybe that I should change it to that. He's got some meaningful game demons I need to see exercise from the guy. I need to see him.
That's better put. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see him have a good game going into Detroit or going into Green Bay or something. Or so I'm curious about that. But I think Sam Darnold would be the modern day Scott Mitchell, modern day Matt Castle, and get a huge payday, deservedly so, for a great year. And maybe the Raiders, if they don't get their guy Shador, the Oregon QB, maybe they should look at a Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
he'll be better than Gardner Minshew.
But they are going to get somebody like that, So, or do you bring Sam Darnold in? Obviously, you can't pay him what the Falcons paid, Kirk Cousins.
Cousins is going to be employed by the Falcons for the next 25 years. You watch and see.
but do you bring in a guy like Darnold to mentor somebody like Shador,
right?
somebody like Darnold who knows the pressure of going to a big market, top draft pick, successful college career, bunch of hype, and it just didn't work for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you can't say it was a lack of it came from a lack of effort on Darnold's part because you can't say he was lazy or he wasn't working hard. It's just he was in a really bad system,
Yeah. It was on
and to
some bad
stay
teams.
that and to keep that patience and to always be ready. That's I mean, if there's something to impart on a younger quarterback, it's that.
Hmm. And he said it in a couple interviews this week that like that year with San Francisco last year was huge for his growth. He said on the bench the whole year in that offense that he actually grew a lot and learned a bunch from that, which I would definitely think he learned a lot more than being on the Jets. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The only question would be if the Raiders want to pay him. The Raiders are already notoriously high on their salary cap. So do you want to bring in Sam Darnold and pay him a bunch of money to mentor someone for a year or two, knowing that you want to give him the job? That's the question they need to consider.
So
But
yeah.
if you told me Sam Darnold's coming to your team right now, I don't know anybody who wouldn't take that deal if you need a
Right.
quarterback. Okay, your hot take for the week. What do you got?
My hot take, I think that now we the playoffs are back to being completely open in the NFC. I think. If if Jalen Hurts, I hope he's okay. But if he has to miss any time, you know, um, it's going to be it'll be interesting. Um,
That's a big
but
question right
my
now. What's up with Jalen Hurts'
yeah,
status?
right, right. Um,
Yeah. I mean, right now it's almost every backup QB on a good team is like, dude, get ready. And it makes me nervous for the Chiefs because their backup QB's Carson Wentz. I'm like,
right.
Mahomes seems to be turning into a pretzel every single week now. I got that feeling Wentz is going to have to come in for a play or two. Remember that year Chad Henne had to come in for Mahomes
Oh
against the
yeah,
Bengals and
that
like
was
pulled off a great third down and be like, oh my God, he fucking saved us.
right.
Yes. So be ready for that. Hot take. You had your hot take. NFC wide open. Makes it fun.
Wide open.
We're gonna have Christmas Day
And
football for the first time.
maybe my hot take, the play of the trick play of the year, Dan Campbell with the Detroit Lions pretending to fumble the ball,
Oh, that was
only to
good.
throw. That was, and then to be screaming fumble, and you look at the D line and the linebackers, they're staring at the floor, trying to find
Yeah.
where the ball is. Obviously, they can't see the ball, because it was in Goff's hands the entire time, and then he throws a beautiful touchdown pass to Laporta.
Like that was a great play. But if I'm to be just negative Pat Ramirez for a second, that's a
Oh,
great play
here we go.
because you did it against the Bears. Like, don't get too cute. Like, do I need to remind you a year ago when you did the dumbass don't report but report to the referee for your 2 point
Oh,
play and
good.
I'm like,
Wow, but big points for
don't
Pat to break. Wow,
don't
that
out
really
cute yourself. Don't
that
get
got you
crazy,
upset.
Dan Campbell.
That got you upset last year.
Yeah, well, it was a perfect like media reaction to something. We can all go, oh, the refs. Oh, look at that. So I'm just saying, Detroit Lions, don't out cute yourself with crazy plays come playoff time.
Right.
Be careful. It was the Bears. Okay, I didn't have an announcer award or location award, although you could have went airport restaurants. There are certain airports that have better restaurants and food courts than others. So I
Right.
could throw that in for location. Best quote. Best quote, I got one from Sunday Night Football. There was a play where the Dallas defender held someone, but tried to play it off, put their hands off, and Chris Collinsworth goes, if I'm the defender, I definitely did it. I look to the ref and I go, hey, throw the flag on me. Chris Collinsworth just took the reins tonight, and I loved it. Chris Collinsworth
Yeah.
impersonating players should just be a thing.
That's something else.
I definitely did it. All right. Do you have a best quote for the week?
Oh, anything that Collinsworth babbled today was just like he
He
was in
had some
rare
good
form,
babbles today. You're right. He
just
kept trying to
babbling today.
get like philosophical of like what it means to play when there's nothing on the line. Like these guys, like, this is real football. Like they got a lot of heart out there. He tried to go deep with the what it is to play a game is meaningless.
Right.
All right, best play call / coaches award. I'm just gonna give it to the fact that it's Dan Quinn's first year and Jaden Daniels' first year, and they seem to have just totally clicked with each other. I'm gonna give it to those
Yeah,
two.
and they got a bright future. I'm just really excited about that Washington team.
Yeah, I can't wait till they go back to the Redskins and you have to come out of the closet.
It's gonna happen, Pat.
Wow, we're gonna start a TikTok channel just for it. Okay, we got the final award. Who won the week? I already said Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels, the combo. But you know who else I'm gonna give who won the week this week too? Let's give it to
Who's
Michael
that?
Penix Jr.
Oh, that was a great debut.
The
Great
guy
debut.
comes in and kills the Giants. How awesome is that?
And then in the driver's seat to win the division. So no
Mm-hmm.
pressure. No
Just as
pressure.
long as we don't have another Winston situation with Penix. But he called family. He had friends watching the games. Like, hey, I'm starting. I'm going to be in the game. And to have like that debut of a game, dude, I got to give you the award for the week, Michael Penix Jr. Although
I like that.
I did have a funny interaction with my mom. We were watching some highlights and they show Michael Penix Jr., but his name just flashes across the screen. And my mom goes, Penis Jr.? I don't know if you've ever experienced a parent curse or say kind of a bad word that when they usually don't, but it's pretty funny. I like when my mom curses. All right, you have a who won the week for you?
I mean, Washington. I think you know what? I think the NFL, the fans won the week because I think what we saw was, this now it's a wide open race, and now anything can happen. I don't think there's any one clear favorite, to win
Yeah.
this year's Super Bowl. So I think the fan won, and we're going to see a great finish these last few weeks in the regular season. And
Yeah, we still have 2 games to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we read the schedule. Yeah, we have next week and then one after. It's going to come down to like the last week. We're going to have to be watching like all these early games. Like, they stagger the game. So one ends 5 minutes later, another one ends 5 minutes later, another one. Like, we're going to be watching all these like, okay, this team won. That means this team that's in the fourth quarter has to win, but this team has to tie. Like, we're going to be doing all that dumb math all day long when it comes to week 18. And that's pretty fun. That'll be good, NFL. That'll be really, really interesting, and we'll have a reason to watch these. We'll have a reason to watch, like, whoever Arizona's playing. You're like, man, Atlanta needs this.
Yep.
We're going to find out. So you got the fans won the week.
Fans won the week.
Are you excited for Christmas Day football on Netflix?
I am. Absolutely.
Do you think we ask too much of these athletes? Like, hey, play football on Christmas for us. Hey, entertain us on Christmas Day. I know they're well paid and all, but is there a line for these professional athletes?
I don't think there's a line. But look, we're having fun. We're watching a lot of football this week. Let's just enjoy it. It's holiday week. Let's have fun.
Okay, Netflix. Please don't crash Netflix like you did for the Tyson fight.
Please don't mess this up. Please don't mess this up. If you mess this up, this is one of those things. It's like a really bad first date. Netflix, if you mess up the NFL, you will not get a second date.
Yeah, I really hope Netflix throws something at us like that the networks never offered before too. We're like, we click it and we're like, oh, okay, here's the game. Hey, what's this thing over here? We can see stats or we can see, something else like along with it. Like, give me a little, like, we're at the point where we need to innovate some of these broadcasts now. Like, I am so The bored isn't the word, but like I could turn the sound off on a lot of these games. Like I don't need announcers. I need something fun or interesting if you're going to talk over
Well,
it.
it's just a big question. With all these, simulations of live games, real-time games, are we going to see next year an NFL game, but with a Stranger Things, type, graphics and
Yeah.
type effects? So who knows?
Remember when Monday Night Football used to take chances like a long time ago and they had Kornheiser and Dennis Miller in the booth
Yep.
and then they'd bring in a guest like somewhere in the third quarter. Remember they brought in Eminem a long time
Yep.
ago and he fucked with Al Michaels and that was funny. Like
That was funny. And
Monday Night Football used to take chances like that a little bit, a little bit.
the graphic I love the most in old Monday Night Football was the two helmets crashing
Oh yeah,
against each other and then shattering.
we were so easily entertained in those days.
Yeah.
All right, that was week.
I thought Bud Bowl was pretty cool too, how they could put helmets on long
Oh,
necks and throw footballs.
but people don't know. Younger people don't know. Bud Bowl was
They
a
will
thing.
never understand the importance of Bud Bowl.
Bud
And
Bowl
how
was a
it felt like
thing.
it felt because it was, we're kids, it kind of felt like it was a game we couldn't see because we weren't 21.
Right. And then there was the next year, Bud Bowl 2, Bud Bowl 3. Like it
And I was
definitely
thinking,
carried
and I was
on.
thinking, I would think to myself, wait a minute, who won last year's Bud Bowl?
It's definitely a conversation you and I had at some point. Hey, who won last year's Bud Bowl? Was it Bud or Bud Light? And I'm sure we spent way too much time on it in our youth discussing the Bud Bowl.
Yep.
All right, that was week 16. That was the games. That leaves us one game tomorrow night. And that Monday night game is the New Orleans Saints at the Green Bay Packers. So right off the bat, what's your interest level in this? Green Bay? They're a good team. Or are you going to watch this game?
I'm gonna watch the game. But I mean, I don't think too highly of New Orleans, so who knows? I mean,
Right.
sure, I'll watch it, but
Right. If this
Green
game
Bay
gets
should
out of
win.
hand by the third quarter, like this is definitely like go do something else status. I'm not
Yeah,
sticking
so
around through this game.
I want to go. I want to go Green Bay, 23, New Orleans 9.
Wow, low scoring for the winners there. All right, I'll go with you on that, but I'm going to say New Orleans gets some garbage time TDs. This is going to be a 7-point game. So if I don't know what the line is, but this is going to be New Orleans scores a touchdown and they won't get the onside kick type of thing. And Green Bay wins. Let's go. Give me 29-22. I don't know how they're going to get there, but that's going to be the score. And it might be cold in Green Bay, I read. Did you see the New Orleans quarterback went into the freezer to simulate cold temperatures?
Wow.
Well, that was Spencer Rattler, who also might be crazy.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, Omar, that was week 16 in the NFL. I'm in town. It's the holidays.
All right, let's get together. Let's do this.
All right. If it happens, then the live in-person pod may be a thing because we're not going to tell the audience yet, but we have a little plan for the playoffs.
We do. Let's have some fun with it.
So get ready, everybody. Week 16. Stick with your team. Tank if you want. Don't tank if you don't want. But it's heating up. The NFL. The fans won this week. Omar said it. For me, Patrick Ramirez, for Omar Carmona, it's Christmas. Have a good holiday. Omar, good night.
Take care.